looked at. Mics are live, cameras good. Because I'm straining to see out of these glasses anymore, and this is a fairly new prescription. My eyes are red and watery again. Crazy. Happens.
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by X Insurance. X Insurance. From the SIG Sauer Studios. On the Patriot Mobile Platinum Microphone. Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, Armed American Radio's Daily Defense from the 6 Hour Studios on a Friday. Closing out your work week for you begins right now here in the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center, right in front of the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center microphone here at the ranch. It's all brought to you by the great X Insurance. Greg in Dallas Tejas, how you doing, brother? 87 degrees. That's warm, man. Warm. Summer's here.
Yeah, it's perfect fire warning weather.
Fire warning, huh? Yeah, we're going to have some tornadoes and stuff. So hopefully the studio stays in one piece for the Monster Cast coming up on Sunday. But expecting some big long track tornadoes coming out of Alabama. Happens every year. No big deal. It just is what it is. And it's weird. Every year I say, I'm going to put a tornado shelter thing. It's about $3,000 in the garage.
Yeah.
Ask me if I've done it.
Hey, Mark, have you invested in that storm shelter in your garage yet?
No, but I've been thinking about it for about 20 years. I just haven't got there yet. And every storm season I think, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Hopefully we're okay.
Do y'all have basements out there even?
Yeah, I'm flanked by neighbors with basements. I'm on a slab. I don't have a basement, and I have absolutely nowhere to go.
There's no basements in Texas.
There's nowhere to go in my house. You just you spray and pray, baby. It's pretty much that simple. If it's ever really bad, everybody just goes downstairs, but the windows are all there. So yeah, we got nowhere to go. We got nothing. We can't dig any kind of a in-ground storm shelter or even pool in my neighborhood because you get about 1.5 feet of dirt and then it's limestone rock. You know who else can't protect themselves from the weather? Those eagles, man. I stayed up almost all night watching that stuff last night.
Oh,
and the third baby disappeared.
Oh,
when I went to bed last night, the mom was feeding the three little eaglets, I guess they call them.
Yeah, that's a viral thing right now.
Yeah, and my wife called me this morning, and I actually fell asleep watching it last night. Got up around 3:30. It was still on. I just captivated by it. And there were huge snowstorm. But let's bring Paul Markle in, student of the gun. Paul, jump in here because you know all about snow.
Is Paul here? Yeah.
Jackie and Shadow are the two Eagles' names, right? And they've been paying, these cameras are on them at Big Bear Valley in Southern California, believe it or not, Southern California, up high up in the San Bernardino Mountains. And two of the eaglets hatched a week ago Monday, and one hatched this past Tuesday. And my wife called me this morning early while I was out at work, and she said, the third eagle's not there. She was crying. The third eagle's not there. I flipped it on, and it was there last night when I went to bed. I have no idea where it was, but they were braving 100-mile-per-hour winds and massive snowfall over 1 foot. And it's just remarkable to watch. It's Mother Nature in action, and it's really cool to see, Paul. You got eagles out there? You follow? Have you been looking at this?
No, I haven't been looking at that. If I want to see eagles, I just go outside and look up in the sky.
Yeah, see? I don't get to see that. We got hawks, man,
People when you and I were in elementary school, it was the big endangered eagles push, right? Remember that? The eagles are endangered, and we were told when you and I were in elementary, we were told that there weren't going to be any more. They were just all going to die, and it was our fault, and we should be sorry. There's a tremendous amount of eagles in Wyoming. I've fed the eagles.
Well, see, the green weenies, all the green weenies will tell you that's because they were on the endangered list.
Yeah, they're not endangered, not by any stretch of the imagination now.
So do eagles know they're the symbol of the United States? Do they know that? That's a
I don't know,
question,
but
right?
I go out in the BLM land and shoot prairie dogs, and I'll drive away, come back an hour later, there'll be, 1 or 2 eagles sitting on the mound having a free lunch.
Prairie dogs just explode at distance. They're fun to shoot. And they're not national symbols of anything,
No, but the eagles like to eat them.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've not seen this stuff, if you want to watch it, let me throw it out there. And trust me, I'm not on anybody's payroll, but this is fascinating to watch. It's friendsofbigbearvalley.org. And if you want to go watch that, put it up in the corner of your screen, and the cameras are on them 24/7. At night, it's infrared. The eagles don't know because it's not lit up to them, but it's lit up for the cameras. And it's captivating. I honest to God, I was up at a friend's house last night, sitting out on the deck, enjoying the beautiful weather with his wife and him last night, and they hadn't seen it. I put it on, and they're texting me this morning. The third baby that we saw being fed is gone. I mean, millions of people are watching this stuff. It's quite fascinating. But, I asked that question, do they know? Who knows, right? But even really cool to see is, and ladies and gentlemen, freedom, bald eagles. It all has something to do with guns, right? No guns allowed around eagles. Eagles are the national symbol, all that fun stuff. It all ties together. But they prepare in advance, Paul, for the inclement weather coming. How do they know that, bro? I mean, Joanne Feldman on Fox 5 can't be accurate with that stuff, but the Eagles are. Maybe she should check with the Eagles.
Animals know, man.
Oh, it's incredible to see.
Animals know.
Yeah, so guys, check it out. friendsofbigbearvalley.org. It's quite fascinating. It has captivated my family and a lot of other people that are watching it now. My mother-in-law's all over it. They're on the phone. I don't think my wife has talked to her mother that frequently, and they talk a lot ever since the Eagles, you know. Are you watching? Where's the other baby? Oh, the other baby's hatching. It's crazy stuff. But it is really fascinating to see Mother Nature in action like that. At 145 in a treetop, probably several thousand feet above sea level anyway, and the weather was vicious all night. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So, Paul, do you want to host the show today? Because I really got nowhere to go other than a few things. It's a Friday.
Yeah. No, it's you know, I'm guessing we filled pretty hard, and we're probably coming up on a break pretty soon. But just to put a capper on the Eagle thing, if you've ever spent any time in a place called Burlington, Iowa. Burlington, Iowa is on the far eastern edge. It's actually on the Mississippi River. And there's a spot on the river that even in the dead of winter, it's fed, or at least it used to be when I was up there, fed by an underground hot spring. So there was a certain portion of the Mississippi that even in January wouldn't freeze. And the Eagles knew that. And eagles would come from miles and miles and miles around, and people would drive down there and sit and watch, and there would be 50, 60 eagles sitting in trees along the Mississippi River in that one spot so they could fish from the Mississippi because it didn't freeze.
That's pretty cool.
And it is cool unless you have a really nice house and a little yappy dog on the Mississippi.
Oh,
and then the eagles just, they carry away Fido.
No, that's not cool. We worry about hawks around Little Huey here all the time. You know, it's just, you got to watch out for hawks around Huey. It's pretty much, one of those hawks took somebody's kitten in the neighborhood about 2 weeks ago. You know, that's something you'll never be able to unsee, you know. Leave the kittens in the house.
That's nature, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, house cats, are they really nature? I guess so. You know, when they're outside, they are.
No, but hawks are.
Hey, when you jump in the ocean, brother, you go from the top of the food chain to the bottom of the food chain. The split second your toes hit that water. It's pretty much that simple.
Yep.
So, Paul, did you see the latest report on from Giffords regarding 1 in 15? According to Giffords, they are claiming, this is remarkable, 1 in 15 Americans are mass shooting survivors. Did you see this? That would be equivalent to about 17.5 million people. Yeah. Did you see that report?
Wow. No, but that's interesting that they can manufacture stuff from their rectums like that.
Is it? They do it all day long, you know. But this one...
We call that rectum knowledge.
Well, they're running with it.
Pull it right out of there. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure they will.
Where do you think they come up with this?
Will.
Where do you think they get this information besides what you just said? I mean, seriously, somebody's sitting around. What do they tell us about? How do you think that meeting goes? Hey, here's a tweet we can put out. Let's say that 1 in 15 Americans are survivors of mass shootings. How do they come up with that number? They obviously think we're stupid, and a number of their followers are.
Oh, well, yeah.
But come on now.
They're just creating talking points for their sycophants, and the mongoloids in the mainstream news media aren't going to question it. They're just going to parrot it as though it's gospel. So, I mean, it gives their sycophants things to talk about, and that's fine. You know, we all know what era we're in. You know, when these people are out of power, they become even more unhinged than ever before.
Yeah.
And we get to sit back and see just how unhinged they can get. And the farther they push their ridiculous nonsense, see, that's one thing that they'll never be able to do is get out of their own way. They push this ridiculous nonsense like their behavior the other night at the State of the Union address.
Funny.
I can't believe that they gained followers after that.
Well, you got to look at where they're getting their followers from. These are the people with the purple hair standing outside with signs, doing stupid stuff, claiming their name is Jenny when their name is Paul. I mean, you know, it's a bunch. It's a mental health charade.
But
parade.
What they're doing is they're making it really hard for the quote reasonable Democrats.
Are there any?
Stand up in public.
We'll talk about that when we
stand up
come
in
back
public and say they are.
When we come back, Paul Markle, student of the gun, 3 more segments. The head of the Brady campaign is out making a fool of himself. We'll go there too. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Patriot Mobile phone right here. If you're watching us on your devices, TV sets, wherever you may be watching. If not, I'm holding my phone up, and it's a Patriot Mobile activated phone. You can do the same thing. Visit patriotmobile.com, patriotmobile.com, and patriotmobile.com/AAR. Take advantage of the discounts over there when you use the AAR promo code, and right off the bat, you'll get a free month. You don't have to flip all your phones at one time. You can do it one phone at a time like we did here at the ranch. Welcome back into the 6 Hour Studios with me. Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day here on, 65-plus stations. We've got some new ads out there, so that's great for the daytime show, continuing its growth. Same with the weekend show. Right now, we're in front of the Patriot Mobile mic in the 6 Hour Studios. X Insurance bringing it all to you. Make sure to check out all of our partners. You can find all of our partners at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. Please visit them and support them. It's why we're here. Paul Markle, student of the gun, welcome back, my brother.
Yes, indeed. So next Friday, I will not be with you.
Oh, no.
Next Friday, I will be in Texas, and I will be out in the woods, and we will be conducting training. So
tell me,
you're going to have to survive without me.
Well, tell me about the training in the woods. What kind of training are you doing in the woods?
Actually, we're doing. I am super stoked about this class. We've been going to a place called Mount Enterprise, Texas, which is very close to Nacogdoches, Texas, if you know where that is. It's over on the eastern side of the state, not very far from Louisiana. And we've been like every 6 months for the last year, we go down there and we do pistol training and rifle training. And some folks had asked about our traumatic medicine training. And so what we're doing is we're doing a team tactics and traumatic medicine 3-day class there. It's going to be, and we talked previously about that before, about our traumatic medical training and how I strongly believe that people need to quit making excuses and get the training, carry the gear. You won't regret it.
I'm one of them, by the way.
The other thing,
it's been a long time since I've had that training, and I need to do that again. It's been way too long. Ladies and gentlemen, take heed of what Paul is saying. It's true. And I'm one of them. I'm guilty, and I admit it. Yeah. Things
change. I was actually just talking to somebody this morning, and they had invited their neighbor to come to the training, and he's like, I'm a EMT Bravo or whatever, and he goes, our training says that we're never, ever allowed to use a tourniquet I'm like, okay, stop. Dude, you got to understand that things change, and a lot of Americans died for us to get the knowledge that we have today. When we entered the global war on terror, 01, 02, we went into it with the old Cold War mentality about medical training and first aid and so forth. And a lot of people died needlessly that didn't need to die because our training was outdated. And to their credit, Big Army pushed a huge change in the training. And one of those things is you got to stop bleeding immediately as fast as humanly possible. And you do that with a ready manufactured tourniquet. You don't do it by direct pressure. You don't do it by elevating the limb. You put a freaking tourniquet on that thing so the bright red blood stops coming out. That's what you do.
You have less than a minute before you bleed out with a femoral artery. Paul, I don't know.
If you got a compromised femoral, that's a big artery. You're losing a lot of blood really fast.
Yeah, you have about a minute before you bleed out. It's over unless you get that stopped immediately. I don't know if you recall this video, but it just came to mind when you mentioned that. I'll play some theater of the mind with you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a brutal video, but it circulated out online a couple years ago. I believe we talked about it at the time. But, Paul, it was video, 2 guys that walked into a bank somewhere. I don't know where it was, but the door was a revolving door, right? Maybe it wasn't a bank. Might have been. It could be anything, like a travel agency or whatever. But it was a revolving door. I don't think banks have revolving doors. But this guy walked into a revolving glass door, both of them, and they robbed the place. Somebody pulled a firearm, shot one guy, killed him. The second guy got hit in the neck. Now, we know what artery is in the neck. That would be the carotid artery.
Oh, yeah.
This guy shot in the carotid artery, is literally spitting blood across the room, continues shooting at one of the managers, winds up killing somebody, before he slips on his own blood. Was a brutal video to watch, and he crawls out and makes it to the spinning door before he just slumps over. But it took about a minute for that to happen, and he was able to continue to do tremendous damage with the gun while he was literally bleeding out. I mean, this is very serious stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and accidents do happen on ranges all the time, sadly.
Oh,
and, you know, the whole tourniquet thing.
And ranches and farms and
sure.
And, you know, out in the field hunting.
It doesn't have to be a gunshot. It can be anything. It can be a farm implement that you slip on. It can be anything. You need to know these things. Fortunately, I have some basic knowledge, but again, I need to re-up that. As far as the tourniquet, do you have any idea why he would say not allowed to use a tourniquet? I mean, that's basic 101.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we knew that.
No, we're
years
going back to this antiquated, the Cold War 1980s era of tourniquet is a last resort after all other means have failed. Well, here's the reality of the situation. That's what we entered the global war on terror with that mentality. And we lost a lot of servicemen who died because their friends, their buddies, tried to follow those rules. They tried to follow the direct pressure, the elevate the limb, Do you know how much pressure a femoral artery has?
Oh my gosh!
You can't stop it with your hands.
No,
especially if you're talking about a young, strong, healthy person with muscular legs. You can't put enough pressure on that with your hands to stop it. It's not possible. And so, for us to be living in the era that we are in 2025, and to ignore those lessons it's a slap in the face to those service members who lost their lives. We're supposed to learn from things like that. And a lot of us did, but sadly, I still encounter that. I still encounter this archaic mentality, and it's easy enough to dispel if people would just show up, sit down, open your ears, and close that hole under your nose, and listen. And then, if you want to argue after, we talk about irreversible shock. You don't have to die. There have been a lot of people who have gone to the hospital. They make it to the hospital, and then 2 days later, they're dead. And people are like, well, what happened? Well, their organs were going into necrosis. You starve your liver of oxygenated blood.
Oh, yeah.
Your liver says, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah, go to the scene in Saving Private Ryan, right? When the medic gets shot. Oh, it's my liver. Mm-hmm. Okay, look, guys, very serious stuff. If you're out on the range, you should have this stuff. You should have it in your range bag. I do. I have the tourniquet kit and all that in the range bag. But honestly, the best advice is if you've got somebody bleeding out like that, you get a tourniquet on it right away, and somebody else needs to be on the phone with 911 immediately. And honestly, the odds are not good unless you stop that bleeding right away. And there's only one way that I'm aware of to do that. Maybe depending on the wound, but if it's a major artery like that, you've got to get the blood flow stopped instantly. It's pretty much that simple. Otherwise, not a good end result. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense will be back. We've got 2 more segments on a Friday with Paul Markle, student of the gun. We'll tell you how to get there. It's SOTGU.com, SOTGU.com. You can check on his site for any upcoming classes in your area. Texas and Tennessee coming up soon. We'll be back with Paul right after this. We'll let him tell you where to go to see him right after the break.
Designed, engineered, and manufactured right here in America. Daniel Defense, freedom, passion, precision.
Hey guys, speaking of Daniel Defense, you're aware of what Daniel Defense has done with the AR-15 platform, right? They've mastered it, and they're world famous for it. They've done the same thing with the handgun, the Daniel Defense H9. It's revolutionary. You need to check it out. Now, again, I've not fired the H9 yet, but I've had it in my hands, and it's a beautiful pistol. It's got the ergonomics of a 1911 with the benefits of a striker-fired pistol, and the thing is incredible, and I will hopefully be putting one down range here in the very, very near future. But check out the Daniel Defense H9. You can find it at danieldefense.com, danieldefense.com today. Go check it out. You can also support the Double D Foundation.org while you're there, and if you need ammo for all your guns, and we all do, got my latest ammo statement just 2 days ago. You've got ammo every Wednesday. I get it, and it's great. Close to 2,000 rounds already. You heard Dan Morton from Ammo Squared just a few days ago on the show. AmmoSquared.com. Start stacking ammo over there. I'll tell you what, it's going to be stacking faster than your 401k, the way the markets have been playing lately. But believe me when I tell you, if you don't have room for ammo, and a lot of us running out of room, AmmoSquared.com keeps the ammo in their warehouse and ships it the day you want it, the day you order it, and it's all done on a very user-friendly website. It's a no-brainer idea. AmmoSquared.com, AmmoSquared.com, and keep those Daniel Defense guns and all your guns clean, the Kahrs, SIGs, whatever you have, doesn't matter. North Midway, there's a Barrel Buddy's got you covered for that as well, barrelbuddy.com. Paul Markle, student of the gun, welcome back in, brother. It is always a pleasure, man, always. So did I give the right information out? People are going to find out now what? Because you're going to Texas and Tennessee. When are you going to be in Tennessee?
No, the last weekend of March. We're going to be at the Tactical Response Range. They're hosting us for our martial application of the pistol 2-day class. That is and if you guys don't know the geography of Camden, Camden is about an hour and a half due west of Nashville. So if you are in the Nashville, Kentucky, Alabama, northern Mississippi, Arkansas, you're within driving distance. Come on over, take class from us. We'd love to see you there.
So let's talk briefly NRA. You're going to be at NRA this year or no? I can't recall. Are you?
No, I'm not planning on it, brother.
I'm going to miss you there then. And that's too bad because the ranch is not far. And I think I might have a little grilling while armed deal with some really cool people that you know at the ranch. That would be fun. But if you're not going to be there, well, it's a moot point, and we'll just move on from there. So you want to talk about let's rag the gun grabbers for a little bit. Oh wait, I put a tweet out today actually praising Chuck Schumer today. Can you believe it? Even in my tweet, I said I can't believe I'm going to tweet this, but I'm going to. He's actually supporting Trump's bill to keep the government open, the spending bill, and he's got AOC and the rest of them going absolutely bonkers, including that nasty witch Nancy Pelosi. So I had to throw it out there, man. I had to throw it out. Congratulations to Schumer for doing that. Now, a lot of that is tongue-in-cheek, but the statement he made was, I don't like the bill. I don't like the bill. It's a bad bill. But bad things will happen to Americans if this doesn't happen, And Pelosi's out there urging Democrats right now to defy him. As if, I don't know. It's so hard to talk about the Democrats and be FCC friendly.
It's pathetic that we live in a world where there are actually citizens that believe that their livelihood, the sun rises and sets based on what happens in Washington, D.C.
Sad, isn't it? It really is.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's done on purpose. It was absolutely, it started back in the 20s. And well, actually, it started in the 1800s, but we can trace it back to the 20s. We can trace it back to FDR. We're going to, there's a deliberate plan to make the citizens of the United States direct tax slaves of the government.
Yep.
Dependents of the government. They knew that they would never go anywhere as long as they can convince the people that they're not independent, they're not self-starters, they're failures. And the only reason you're not a failure, you're a victim, is because the government fixes things for you. I mean, that's the Democrat Party in a nutshell.
How's that working out for you guys?
You're a victim. you need the government to fix your life for you.
How's that working out for you guys? Okay. Look,
Yeah,
when
disgusting.
AOC and Bernie Sanders and what's her name? Who's the loudmouth? Crockett are up your tail. In this case, it's up Schumer's tail. I'm going to tell you right now, Schumer did something right. So I'll be fair here to him. I can't stand that obnoxious guy. But if he pissed off AOC and Crockett and the rest of those lunatics, I'll applaud him for that. Particularly,
well, they're criminals.
Sure, they
But
are,
let's
and
not
we all
call
know
them
why
lunatics.
they're up
criminals.
Sure.
They're criminals. If a citizen did 2% of what Congress people do, they'd be in prison for life.
Yeah, watch AOC carefully, Paul, because very famously, if you remember, when she was first elected, she made it very public. Yeah, the broke bartender was broke. She couldn't afford to rent any place in D.C. until she got her first paycheck from you, ladies and gentlemen, taxpayer funds. She couldn't rent any place. She didn't have any money. She was literally a broke, out-of-work bartender. Now, I bet you she comes out wealthy. However, with all the Doge stuff going on,
millionaire.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Here's how she's going to cover it. She's going to wind up writing a book or something and get a huge advance. And that's how they're going to cover this up. And that's how they're going to launder this money for her. But yeah, she's going to come out loaded. Don't think, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to happen. She's going to come out loaded. She's going to make no bones about it. And she's going to continue to gripe and complain about wealthy and tax breaks for the wealthy.
If you recall, like her first State of the Union or some kind of nonsense, she showed up in the poor broke bartender that we were supposed to feel sorry for because she was just a woman of the people. Yeah. She showed up in a designer gown that was like a $50,000 dress. Mm-hmm. And people were like, that's funny. I thought she was broke. Well, you're only broke until you get that magic vote, until people can buy your vote. And then you have as much money as you want.
Likely donated. It's like
start selling your votes, man.
It's
nothing's free. It all comes with strings.
So speaking of strings, I don't think we've talked about this yet, but we were waiting for Bondi's report on Trump's executive order and his direction to her to find what she can find from the previous administration as far as infringements on your Second Amendment rights go. And I don't know, Paul, if you knew this, and listeners, I failed to tell you this, but she's been granted an extension on that, and I don't know how long that extension is. A lot of people were questioning how come we haven't heard anything. But she has been given an extension on that. And what I find interesting about this is the Brady campaign. You give Bondi an extension, anything that might have anything to do with advancing your right to bear arms. What happens? The Bradys and the rest of them come out of their little holes, crawl out like the little chipmunks that they are. And you've got the head of the Brady campaign out there right now who is all over this. In a Substack, he posted, his last name is Brown, but he posted, there are tens of millions of people who are prohibited from buying guns in the United States. That's a big, big market to this industry with flagging sales. It's a market that includes people with a propensity to violence that would love to legally purchase firearms. The more people who have been convicted of crimes buy guns, the richer the industry gets. This creates a dangerous feedback loop where the industry profits from arming bad guys, then turns around and convinces Americans to buy guns to protect themselves from the very threat they helped create. But the cycle doesn't end there. What starts as a profit-driven scheme to arm dangerous individuals quickly turns into political influence that fuels even more reckless policies. The more money the gun industry has, the more money they can throw at politicians. And that means Donald Trump. In his quest to do the gun industry's bidding and create new markets for guns, in this case, approximately 24 million felons prohibited from purchasing firearms in this country, Trump would literally sign a death sentence for Americans who have already suffered abuse and near-death experiences at the hands of perpetrators, only stopped from purchasing firearms by the permanent prohibition put in place by the Brady background check. Paul, when we come back, the timing of that closeout to the break was perfect. Tried to get there, didn't realize it would work that well, but it did. When we come back, we'll get some commentary from Paul Markle, student of the gun, who I know will have a thought. Don't go away. We'll be back. One more segment with Paul before we close out your work week on a Friday.
This segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Daniel Defense. Visit DanielDefense.com. Now, back to the show.
Back to the show. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom here, the final segment of the Friday broadcast. All of it being brought to you by the great X Insurance. If you need insurance for any aspect of your life, it doesn't matter what it is, even something you thought, well, I can't get insured for that, X Insurance will cover you. It's that simple. Reach out to them, xinsurance.com. Don't forget budsgunshop.com. Budsgunshop.com, our exclusive online retailer. We'll be broadcasting there in the very near future. Within, I think, a couple weeks. I'll keep you posted on that date. And check out emersonKnives.com, emersonKnives.com. Don't forget Patriots Supply, or not Patriots Supply, patriotsrelief.com, patriotsrelief.com. I have some of it sitting right here in a bag, and I'm going to be using it again later this afternoon because I forgot to put it on this morning. That was a mistake because that stuff works. Patriotsrelief.com, patriotsrelief.com. Use the promo code AAR, and I believe you save 40% off over there. And don't forget Heaven's Harvest, heavensharvest.com. And, of course, all of our manufacturers, Kahr, North American Arms, SIG, Daniel Defense, and there's more lining up as well. Great to be with you today. Armed American Radio continues the final segment with Paul Markle, student of the gun. So, Paul, you heard that boneheaded statement from those idiots over there at the Brady's. And yet again, it's all about the Brady bill, okay? Anything that's going to hurt whatever it is they did to infringe on our rights, they're going to go through. Donald Trump is a murderer. Donald Trump wants to arm bad guys. The firearms industry wants to arm the worst people in America so that they can buy guns and make more money. I mean, you know, again, this falls in line. The people that believe this stuff are the same people that fall for that garbage over there at Giffords, that 1 in 15 of us are survivors of mass shootings. Take it away, Paul. FCC-friendly lines, by the way.
Yeah, I would ask, you know, if I was in a room with a clown like this, I would say, you know, how do you feel about, you know, allowing, and he would know they're being set up. I'd say, how do you feel about arming drug cartels? Do you think it's a bad thing or a good thing? And they're like, and of course he wouldn't answer. They would choke, and because they don't, the people being armed, the worst people being armed. You mean like the Taliban?
Oh, those guys?
The largest terrorist organization on planet Earth. Everybody that you vote for, everyone that you cheerlead for, committed the largest gun transfer to a felon. Are terrorists felons?
Well, yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Would you think? Would you consider a terrorist a felon?
I would think so. Yeah.
You know, I would ask them, like, would you consider a terrorist to be a felon? Would you consider drug cartel members to be felons? People in the United States, and I don't want to hear any crap about this nonsense until the people in the United States government who facilitated the largest terrorist organization on planet Earth being handed $80 billion. I'm sorry, 79.7.
Yeah, get it right.
I don't want to get fact checked by PolitiFact.
Get it right.
It wasn't 80 billion. It was 79.7 billion of not Glocks and high points and you know, no, they were given stuff that American peasants aren't allowed to have.
Right.
Belt-fed machine guns, select fire assault rifles, grenades, rocket launchers, top secret military hardware, which they, you know, quickly passed over to China.
And Al-Qaeda.
And Al-Qaeda. Well, I mean, Al-Qaeda is hanging out now. They have their camps are running 24/7 in Afghanistan again. And when is Eric Holder going to prison? Well, what do you mean? You mean the guy who orchestrated one of the biggest gun transfers to the Mexican drug cartels in the history of the United States? That guy?
Yeah, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, he's talking about ATF and Fast and Furious, by the way.
Fast and Furious. You know, Barry Soetoro told him to do it. He told ATF to do it. They did it. They funneled thousands of guns purposely, knowingly, and deliberately into the hands of drug cartels specifically, so those guns would show up at crime scenes so that Obama could push more gun control.
No, Paul, no. The firearms industry did that. That's why Mexico is suing Smith & Wesson and others.
Yeah, that's
you got to
right.
get it right. You might get fact-checked on that.
It wasn't the AFT. It wasn't Holder. There haven't been multiple exposés and books written about it. And you know how many convictions they got? They got one misdemeanor conviction. Remember, they were going to their auspices were they were going to shut down. They were going to break up these cartels, and no one was ever able to explain how funneling guns across the Mexican border into the hands of the drug cartels was going to facilitate their being brought down.
Eric Holder. I hadn't heard that clown's name in a while.
He should be in prison, but he's not because it's like.
Well, maybe he's smart. Maybe he's smart for staying
government.
silent. He could be smart for staying silent, particularly with Trump back in office.
Well, I don't care if he stays silent or not. He should be in prison.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
If you or if an FFL holder did what he did, they'd be in jail still. If a citizen did anything that Holder or the DOJ did, they'd be in prison. But you see, when you work for the government, you're exempt from the laws that you enforce on the people.
Well, let's put this in perspective, because what they did, what the ATF did, ladies and gentlemen, to some of the dealers around Arizona and the Phoenix area as well, by forcing them to sell guns, they did what they later would call a crime and go after them and shut their FFLs down years later.
Well, they tried to burn those guys.
They get away with it. They just get away with it, or at least they did. It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. I'm interested to see what happens now that Bondi's been given an extension, and I'd like to be a fly on the wall and kind of want to know why. Did she have a conversation with Trump? Hey, I'm finding more than I thought, or I just don't have enough time. You know, give me an extension.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, they're like, well, see if you can find anything. It's like, find anything. It's like, what am I not finding?
Yeah, 30 days ain't enough, DJ, okay?
Yeah, that's not enough.
Extend me a little bit so that we can really get this going. Because I know she would love to do that, and I know she wants to prosecute some of these people. I hope I'm right about that. Again, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt right now, and I will continue to do that until, well, otherwise. I'll hang in there. Paul, you know, I love you, brother. I'm going to miss you at the NRA convention coming up in the ATL in right about maybe 5-6 weeks from now coming up. But tell people where you're going to be again. I know you had mentioned Tennessee. I know we're going to run out of time here soon. Yep. Tell people where to go and find all that stuff.
We're going to Texas to do our team tactics and traumatic medicine class next week. And then the last weekend of March, we will be in Camden, Tennessee at the Tactical Response Range. And you can sign up for any of our classes, including the home study course, by going to SOTG.com right now.
Yeah, that home study course, you've got about 20 seconds. Tell us quickly about it, because that's pretty cool stuff. It's groundbreaking stuff. It's revolutionary.
It's everything you need to know before you show up and we're together on the range. And it answers all the questions that you have had for so long and didn't have answers to.
In other words, it wipes out the intimidation factor that a lot of people have before they take a lot of training at the level that you're training. And ladies and gentlemen, when you can wipe out that intimidation, and I was a victim of that myself for a long time until I finally got past it and realized, hey, I had nothing to be intimidated about. Now, there are some shooting schools out there, I won't name them, that I would not attend for that very reason. And I'm a fairly accomplished, and I've taken training with some of the best in the country, and I wouldn't go to some of those schools. But again, I won't name names. Somebody out there's going, who's he talking about? Who's he talking about? It doesn't matter. Suffice to say, stay trained, get trained. Paul Markle, student of the gun. Appreciate you, man. Love you to death. You and the family. Tell everybody I said hello. Pick up that guitar later. It is a Friday. Blow the doors down. You can't upset the neighbors out there on your real ranch. I'm going to do that in just a couple minutes and hope I do upset the neighbors, because I really want them to complain, and nobody will. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast will be live on Sunday. It'll be a great program. It always is. Until we meet on the radio, enjoy your day. What's left of it, stay safe. We'll see you on the radio, guys. Thanks for being here.
You've just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by X Insurance. X Insurance on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, guys, thanks for being here today. Appreciate it very much. Regardless of where you're watching or listening, I do appreciate it so much. Please make sure to visit all of our sponsors. They make it possible every single day. And we've got another new one coming up. I'll tell you about it in about a couple weeks. But I think you'll like it. I know I do. So it probably means that you will as well. So go ahead and get your weekend started. Have a lot of fun. Enjoy it. If you're in the neck of the woods where I am and you're going to be running from tornadoes or keeping your eyes peeled all weekend, please stay safe. Do the right thing. Don't be stupid. They tell you to get below if you can. If not, just take care of yourself. There are big storms coming out of Alabama and down through the South. It happens this time every year, and they can be nasty. So there's your public service announcement for the day. We will be doing the same thing here at the ranch. But enjoy your day. Stay very safe. And I'll see each and every one of you on the radio on Sunday's Monster Cast. Visit all of our partners, please. They make it all possible. See you on the radio on Sunday evening.